Cascade Hoop Talk, Billy D. Join us on Twitter, Cascade Hoop Talk. Hey, I'm thrilled today to have Hussayn Ford here from Northwest University. He led the nation with 24 double-doubles. He earned honorable mention All-American. He, along with his teammate Christian Hakalamali, were first-team All-Cascade Collegiate Conference. Hussayn led the country as one of the best rebounders I've ever seen in the Cascade Conference. He led the country in rebounding. And in just 2 seasons at Northwest, Hussayn scored over 1,100 points and he pulled down nearly 700 rebounds. He was also recently named the Northwest University Athlete of the Year. Thanks for coming on the show, Hussayn.
Thank you.
So, you grew up in that Seattle area. You went to high school in Kent. You played at Kent Ridge High School. I know in your senior year you lost in the state 4A semifinals to Garfield. Can you just talk about your time playing high school ball there at Kent Ridge?
Kent Ridge was fun. I met one of my best friends at Kent Ridge, and so that was a good thing for me. And just growing up, and when we just transferred, so having somebody to talk to and stuff like that. But as far as the basketball aspect, man, it was fun. It was fun to play with playing with people better than me. That when I transferred, the league was a little better than me, and it made me work. I had to work every day, get better, and every day in practice, we just win at each other. And we went undefeated. And Garfield loss, that hurt, man, because we felt like it was a bad draw. We were both number 1 in state. We should have played each other in the championship, but they had us play each other in the first round, so we didn't really like that.
So you're telling me, I didn't realize that you were undefeated going into that Garfield game?
No, we had lost one game going into the Garfield game. We lost in our our conference league game or whatever, league championship.
Okay.
That was our first loss, but that was placing. We were already in state. That was just for placing at that point. But before that, we were both number 1 in state, even with the loss. Because I think Garfield lost twice and we lost once.
Was that at the Tacoma Dome or was?
We lost to Todd Beamer. We lost to Todd Beamer, and I think we played at like SPU or POU. It was somewhere in Tacoma, POU or the other one that's out there.
UPS, University of Puget Sound.
UPS. One of those two places. We played them out there and we lost.
Well, that must have really stung. It took you a while to get over that.
I mean, we knew we had to check forward. After a while, but I mean, that was our first loss. In our head, we're like, we'd rather lose now than, in the dome at the time. That's how we were thinking. It was like, Well, I mean, we had a great season. It's not over, so we'd rather take the L now than later on. Unfortunately, we took it later on as well. But yeah, I like that group.
So you left Kent Ridge, graduated, and you decided you were going to play at Pierce Community College there in that NWAC tough conference. Talk about your decision to go to Pierce.
Honestly, my basketball career really started in 2013. I really started picking up the ball my junior year of high school. So at Kent Ridge, being on a team like that I was only my second year playing basketball, and shoot, I was everything. And after high school, I wasn't like the best player. Honestly, if I look back, I'll tell you I was trash. From where I'm at now, I probably wouldn't even pick me up low-key at the park back then first. I wouldn't pick myself up first, but I'll definitely pick myself on the team. But after high school, I didn't really have anywhere to go. I just was at some open gyms with my best friend Jawan Stepney. Who's had a fine career as well. And I went to the open gym at Pierce with him a couple times, and then I stopped going because I thought the team was already set. I heard the team was already set. They're picking up Blizniak from Todd Beamer and him, so that's the 2 top players in our conference. I was like, you guys are set, and one of them's in my position. Oh, you guys are good. And so the Olympic coach called. I would have went out there for some open gyms and to see how it was, but I didn't have a way out there to make it in time. And then the Pierce coach called, which is Mindy, which is Bill Mendelson. And he's like, Hussayn, you can come to the open gym. So I thought you guys were set. He's like, nah, come to the next one. We still got space. So I was all right. I played well and got picked up.
And for people who listen and don't, Olympic is a community college up on the peninsula. It's quite a ways out of the Seattle area. It's quite a drive up there.
Yeah.
So it worked out good going to Pierce. It was closer to home. You talked about, just kind of starting to learn basketball in high school. Talk about your transition to college basketball. What surprised you?
Surprised me? I don't think I was too surprised. I've always grew up playing with college athletes and NBA athletes, like in the Seattle area. That's all the way there is basketball. I mean, we have other sports, but even if you play another sport, you definitely play basketball. LA Fitness, Jamal Crawford comes down, plays. Sometimes Rodney Stuckey, other pro players, overseas players, college players. So I wasn't really surprised too much, but I guess the biggest surprise for me going from high school to college more so was how much freedom I had. I was more the biggest surprise. I was like, you realize you have way more time in your day after class
Mm-hmm.
than you realize. As far as peers, that's when I got to Northwest, we used to have less time for free time.
Yeah.
But
Well, when you were at Pierce, like I mentioned, that's in that tough NWAC conference. That conference basically encompasses the entire Northwest. How did competing for a couple years in that conference mature you and prepare you for the Cascade Conference?
it was I learned a lot off the court. I think that's what helped me on the court. My first year there, I failed a class. I failed a class. I mean, shouldn't even been in there. I was between the advising. I was tough, but I failed a class and I had to sit out.
Oh,
And in that sit out time, the two dudes I was rooming with, who are two of my closest friends now, actually too, they kept me pushing along. They kept me playing basketball, and I just wanted to play with them, and I did for half a season, and then I didn't get to play with them after that, but I kept playing so I could.
who you were really lucky to have roommates, teammates like that kind of pushed you through because, some guys end up disappearing into the woodwork when that happens.
I've seen a lot of people from Pierce do that. I've seen it, and I had a great support system through the friendships I've made. I think that's one of the biggest influences. And my sister, I just wanted to win. I just wanted to play. I just wanted to play.
How good were your teams at Pierce? Any good?
The first year I was there, yes, we had a lot of talent, but the chemistry never gelled, and everything just never gelled together for us to do anything. And then my second year, I took off. I took a year off to get my grades together, and then the following year, which was my sophomore year, that's probably the most fun team I've ever played on. All we did was we'd argue with each other in practice, cuss at each other, whatever, go at each other all day, but it was all love. Whenever the games came around, couldn't nobody punk us. We played hard. We were top teams. If we lose, we were mad. Nobody liked losing. And that's what Pierce was. That's where we grew. Everybody was a dog, pretty much. You're on your own. Everybody's goal is to make it somewhere. That's why I feel like a lot of athletes should go the JUCO route, because everyone's goal is to make it. They're still hungry to make it compared to players in the 4-year. Sometimes they're like, okay, well, I got my scholarship. I'm about to continue being a nurse or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that fire is different.
So when you were a sophomore at Pierce, was Coach Drinkwine the one that recruited you to come to Northwest?
Yeah. He from what I heard, he was convincing the other head coach. I can't remember his name right now. He was convincing the other head coach to come get me because the other head coach was kind of nervous on it at first, but I guess he seen me play and Drinkwine got him up under it, put a fire under him, and before I could actually get there was a different coaching staff switch, and Drinkwine was head coach, so I was like, that's cool with me.
Talk about Coach Drinkwine has always defied the odds there, both at Evergreen and at Northwest. He always seems to get more out of his teams than what people expect. Talk about playing for Coach Drinkwine.
Coach Drinkwine is the first coach that I know if I leave the gym for the day, I can know that he'll talk to me again. So basically saying he's a player's coach. He builds a bond with his players. He just jokes around in practice or whatever. Like Kelvin, we wear practice gear. He'll say something wrong or whatever, and then he'll make you do push-ups or whatever, and he'll make you do it again. In your head, you're like, "Well, what's going on? Why am I doing these push-ups?" And everyone's laughing. No one drinks, just like pretty much trolling them. But I mean, that's what he does, and he always says some corny catch line or something like that. And if you mess up, like say you did a turnover, you'd be like, "My bad." He'd be like, "Well, it's not your good." So he can always catch him, and I found that out before I actually came to Northwest. My best friend played there before Trey Benton. Every day I was with Trey, she was talking to Drink One in the car. Just talking about basketball, just talking about life or whatever the case may be. But that means he was reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And you build that relationship. That means you got my back, I got your back. That's how it worked for me and Drink. And he understood his players.
So you get to Northwest, which is just north of Seattle there for people who don't know. In your junior year, you started out 5-4 in the preseason. You'd been tested pretty well, but you started the conference with several road games, and you found yourself 4-7 in conference in the first half. Were you disappointed that you had struggled out the gate your first year there in the conference?
Yeah, I mean, of course I was disappointed. I was disappointed because I want to win. I don't like losing. I want to win. But also, in my head, I didn't really look at it like that because I didn't sat out of basketball twice previous of coming to Northwest, and so on the court I'm gonna just give it my all. And so if we win or lose, I know I gave it my all, so I'm okay with that. But also because the guys I had in the locker room never gave up. Nobody was fighting with each other. Nobody was mad, pointing fingers. Nobody was giving up or complaining, not coming to practice, going hard, failing classes, doing goofy stuff. Nobody did nothing like that. Everyone played for each other all the way through. And we got hit with injuries last year too, which is kind of crazy. So I don't know how it must be cursed or something, but
yeah. Well, about halfway through that year, you were 4-7 in conference. You were really fighting for a playoff spot, and you had a huge opportunity. You were at home, and you had the weekend. You had Southern Oregon and Oregon Tech, and you lost a 1-point game to Oregon Tech. You lost an overtime game to Southern Oregon. It's so hard to win on the road. What was the team's mood after knowing they just lost 2 close games at home that they had every right to win?
So I'll start with the Southern game because I remember that one better. But we were losing pretty much that entire game, and we just never really clicked going in that game. And then coaches put in the bench, and we caught fire. We almost came back that game. We did. We
took
did.
them to overtime.
Yeah, we did come back, and that was Jace Paulson. He was only a freshman, and he was knocking threes down. He came in, and I said, look, I told him all year, I said, look, you throw it up there, brick or money, I'm gonna get their board. I lead the league, I lead the country.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw it up there, just heave it. You can shoot, we know you can shoot, it'll go, and he did. And everybody else just followed in suit. Defense locked in, focused up, but we just fell short. We missed the buzzer beater. That was tough. And then OIT, I like playing there because the crowd is so vicious. I think the first time we played them was a close game. The second time they routed us, and then in the playoffs we beat them, and they were number 1.
Talk about that road trip. You fought your way through that season, your junior season, and you had lost 1-point game to Oregon Tech at home in there in Kirkland, and then you had lost by a pretty good margin down in Klamath. Talk about that road trip. You were the 8th seed. Nobody gave you a chance. Oregon Tech had just won the conference. They were the number 1 seed, and you were on the bus going down to Klamath Falls. What was the mood of the team heading down for that game your junior year?
Lighthearted. I mean, just easy going. We on the way down, we just enjoy each other. I enjoy each other's time, company, and we knew what came in there for. We knew we had business. We're the AC. We have nothing to lose. We're not even expected to be in the playoffs, honestly. And we just went out there and played. and I always felt like we were a better team than them as far as athleticism. As
Mm-hmm.
far as athleticism goes, we just were younger. They definitely had a solid core group of guys that knew their role and just how to get it done. If you can even look at each individual player's numbers, it fits their system. And they were carried by Mitchell Fink too. But man, he's a dog. But he was talking smack to my actually my close roommate, Art point guard. He was like, nah, 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 nah. So we was like, let's play, let's play. And they was like, after I remember I was at the free throw line. Mitchell Fink was like, hey, don't worry, guys, don't worry, guys. Check he shoots like 57%. Don't worry. I said, I said, don't worry about the owner. You got to worry about the game. I said, I ain't missed a free throw all day. Hit two of them. I was like, man, come on, Mitch. And so, and I was like, and the crowd. I loved the crowd. There was some old dude got kicked out, I think, because he tried to be in the student section. But the crowd was talking so much smack, and I feed off that. I be talking to him, saying whatever, and then after that, here's what it is. Say goodbye. I remember I waved to the crowd at the end of the game. I waved to the crowd. I was like, say goodbye. So I think that was the most fun. There's probably more, but I had fun that game. That was fun.
So how big was that win? You know, that Oregon Tech team ended up national runner up that year.
Yeah, I seen that, and they played College of Idaho, which is the team we lost to after them.
Yeah.
And that goes to show you how tough our conference is. So that two of our guys played each other to get to the championship.
Yeah, in the Final Four.
But the win, to answer your question, the win meant the world. Like, it felt like you just broke through a barrier. It's like, imagine doctor saying you can never walk or something. You start walking like yo, like we're actually good. We can play. I mean, which we already knew, but it's like, this is like reassurance. It's like, finally, all our hard work is finally being noticed. Let's make a push.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let them know. What a better way to knock the number one off.
You're known as a guy who's almost impossible to guard. Who's the toughest defender you faced in the Cascade Conference?
Toughest defender? I'm trying to think. Actually, Connor. I don't want to butcher his last name. So I was gonna say Connor.
Yeah.
Connor Desanya. Yeah. The reason he's the toughest, not because I couldn't. It was just the whole system. Really, CFI's system is great.
Mm-hmm.
As far as shutting teams down. But Connor, because he could take a hit and he'll keep coming. He could take a hit, and he's strong and physical. He's not gonna let you get nothing easy, and that's fine with me. But Connor, he's cool. I like Connor.
Yeah, he's a very good defender. College of Idaho is a great defensive team.
Yeah, believe it or not, which is crazy. I'm out here right now in Boise, actually, because I'm visiting my sister. I kind of like grew friends at CFI playing against them because they were so competitive and they were always talking trash, and they will talk a little smack on Twitter like, bro, you guys got your win, we got our win, we're gonna see when we play each other, but it was always love and respect at the end. And then even if the crowd talks smack, they'd be like, oh, good game, saying afterwards. And, you know, I respect that. So if you're able to talk your trash, play hard, leave it on the court, and after the game you can chop it up, that's cool with me. It's all love out here in Caldwell and Boise. So
I always enjoy going out to College of Idaho. Their fans it's always pure class out there. Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
And I've got to be, actually, it's kind of ironic, I got to be friends with a lot of their fans. But when the game's going, boy, it's, you know, it's death sport. But yeah, it's a fun place to go. Where's the toughest place in the league to play?
Okay, so my first year playing at Northwest, we went to Oregon Tech, and the first day out there we had a little night practice, and it was hard to breathe. I wasn't used to the elevation, and that was tough. As far as my body, it just felt weird. It was hard to breathe out there. It felt muffled.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the hardest place to play as far as that goes. But as hardest place to play as far as getting a win is College of Idaho.
Yeah.
I could never beat them. And I was so close. I had the team this year. I had it. I had the team. Some injuries killed us. We lost to 2 the first game we played them. We were both undefeated in the season. I think we were like 7-0, both 7-0. We played and we lost like 2 or 3.
That was in Kirkland, and you guys had got a pretty good lead early on, and then you really kind of traded baskets in the second half.
Yeah.
I think Talon Pinckney hit a couple of free throws at the end to ice the game. That must have been a disappointing loss. You guys had him on the ropes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's tough to like dwell on things. We never did that in our locker room. So it's like, dang, we just lost this game. Like, man, that sucks. But like, we just all right. What's the next game? Okay, we got. I think that's how we did so well, and that's how we. I think that's where our success came from. Is from the fact that we just moved on. Drink never dwelled on it. I mean, he'll bring up like instances, to prove a point when he's trying to, when he's coaching and stuff. But besides that, he's like keep moving forward. In playing basketball, you have to have a short memory, and you also have to have a long memory. When it comes to losing, you got to have a short memory. So that's what he instilled in us, and we just kept chugging along.
Who you talked about being a good rebounder, and I mentioned in the intro, you're one of the best rebounders I've watched in the Cascade Conference. I call it, I don't know if this is the right term, but I call it the second hop. You have the quickest second hop I've ever seen, where you go up either to block a shot or to take a shot, but you're back up in the air before anybody else can respond.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're such a good rebounder?
Well, like I said before, I didn't play basketball until my junior year in high school, so I wasn't good. What could I do? Nobody's gonna pass me the ball, and I'm not, the best defensive player or guard. I mean, I was thinking guards and stuff who are quicker than me. So the only way I'm gonna get it is somebody misses a shot, I'm gonna go get the rebound. Rebounding is not. I mean, it's a skill, I feel, as far as like reading where it's gonna go, but as far as that's just effort. Who wants it more? Who is just go get it. Just go get it. That's all that's how I tell everybody. I was like, they be like, how do you do it? I was like, just want it. You gotta want it. It's like a will. You gotta will it. And that's what I take pride on now. I was like, that's how I'm gonna help my team. I know my role. I'm good at rebounding. That's what I'm gonna do. And rebounding is an offense and defensive thing. You rebound offensively, you got another possession to score yourself or for your team. And you get a defensive rebound, you shut them down. They don't get a chance to score. So that's how I look at it, and I'm just good at it.
I don't know if you know this, but whenever your name comes up, the first thing people talk about is your motor. You never stop. Do you ever get tired? You never look like you're ever tired.
Yeah, I get tired. I was tired on defensive practice for sure. But there's only been a couple games where I've been tired since I've been at Northwest, like where I was like, Coach, I need one. And one of them was at C of I for sure. This season, I think the last time we played them was at their place, and they did a hell of a job subbing. They had we only had like 6 players, 7 players, so you game plan well for that. They just rotated them, but I don't even think it had to do with our guys being out as well. I mean, of course that's part of the strategy, but their coach did a great job. I like their coach. I like him. He did a great job. And I was talking to the players because, like I said, we're pretty buddies off the court. And I was like, you guys are doing a great job sending these platoons in because every time there's a foul, you think you got a break. You start scoring. You think, you get a little feel for the game. He's sending a whole new 2 bigs, fresh guards. I was like, see? So, and they never let us, they never eased up. It was ugly. Shout out to them. But that was when I was the game I was tired. I iced, did everything after that one.
Hey, I want to go back to the start of conference. In the preseason, you guys were tested pretty well again. You had a tough preseason. You were picked pretty low in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first weekend of conference, you had 2, I think Oregon Tech was ranked number 1 in the nation, and Southern Oregon was ranked 12th or something. 13th. Yeah. And you knocked them both off back to back. You beat Sauk in a close game, and you controlled the whole entire game against Oregon Tech. After that game, what were your expectations for the season? You guys had just shocked the whole conference that weekend.
Well, the first thing I said when the buzzer blew at the Oregon Tech game, after the Oregon Tech game, was I told you I'm gonna get my win. Yeah, I got y'all number because that was the second time beating them. Because last time I played them was the playoff game. As far as the win, we expected to win, nothing less. We knew it felt right. I feel like there's energy on the basketball court before the game, and if you feel it, it'll determine how the game goes, and you gotta, take control of it and do what you can from there. But it felt like we were going to get the win. I was not surprised. I don't think any of us were really surprised that we got those wins. What we were surprised about was how we closed the game. That was our only struggle of the season. That's why we took so many losses. We just couldn't finish in those last 2 minutes. And Coach Drink and the other coaches, as well as our players, did a great job buying in and focusing on how we need to get better at finishing games. And we started doing that, and we went on like a 7-game win spree before we played CFI, and that's exactly how we expected. And I think we were expected so low because I remember Drink saying he was hiding the players that we had recruited or something, so nobody in the league really knew. But I feel like if we kept a healthy team, we would have won the national championship with the team fully healthy. There's not a doubt in my mind. But
well, you definitely got hit with the injury bug. You guys were, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of games you had 6 guys available. It seemed like you guys really showed a ton of toughness, but those tough road games in the Cascade Conference, really started to take a little bit of a toll. You lost on that big road trip to Southern Oregon and Tech, and then the Eastern and College of Idaho. I know you were fighting for a 3 seed in conference, and then you went up to Walla Walla, and you won that first game pretty handily. And then, talk about that last conference game against Walla Walla. And like I say, you were fighting for that 3 seed.
Yeah. Man, I have a lot. There's a new freshman. He's very athletic. He's very, very athletic. And I guess around the league, they say he's the next me of the league, which I can see because he could hoop. But he didn't play the first game. In the second game, he played, and I think we talked to one of the officials, but the officials, because it was the way the weekends work out there, you play like awkward times, so they can only get certain refs, and there was new refs, and I just feel like they just were trying to buy in the hype, and you can't always there's always games you don't always blame refs, but I mean we only got 6 guys. It's like we gotta get something. And then our guards, we didn't shoot well that game. I was in foul trouble. It was bad. It was bad. We had a bad shooting night, terrible shooting night. I think, Ricks didn't shoot too hot, and it just the flow of the game wasn't good. But Cole stepped up. He's a freshman. He stepped up a lot. So, it was a win. It was experience for them. So I didn't like that loss.
Yeah, it was a kind of a sour way to end your conference season. And then your final college basketball game, you played Eastern Oregon at home, a real tough defensive game. They kind of controlled the game down the stretch. Talk about that feeling, that game's winding down. That your time playing college basketball is coming to an end.
Yeah. But I looked at the game like, look, we're gonna go out. We're gonna go out hard. I think that was the game I was the most aggressive as far as offensively and defensively. And I didn't come out the game that time. I remember the big was asking me. He was like, "You don't get tired?" I was like, "Nah." It's about pacing yourself, really, as far as like breathing. But yeah, I thought we were gonna win. I thought we was gonna win that game. And shouts out to them for pulling it off. But yeah.
Hey, can you talk about a couple of teammates that you have there? Ryan Ricks and Christian Haklamali. These guys are 2 very good basketball players you had the opportunity to play with.
Okay, I'll start with Ryan, superstar Ryan, MVP Ricks. That's what we call him, MVP Ricks. He got his first Player of the Week award. So after that was when I think he had like close to 30 when he was on Montana. And he caught fire after that, and he could shoot. It's weird because if you watch him play in the game, you'll be like, oh, he just shoots. But if you watch him in practice, that boy can hoop. I mean, spin moves, attack, up and unders, contested jump shots, deep balls. Like, he could hoop, but some days he's cold though. Man,
Mm-hmm.
he be overthinking. I think that's it. He overanalyzes a lot, but that boy got a clip on him. And I think Chris carried the team. I think Chris definitely carried the team. It's not gonna show in the numbers as much, but he was our best defensive player. If you look at any tape, he's a chase down artist. So you won't think of the next person, LeBron, is him. He's coming for your shot. He's blocking you easily, and he can guard inside out for the most part. And he has a high motor. He's strong with the ball. He can shoot. He has a high IQ. He has an understanding for the game. He's a good feel for the game. Good change of speed. Good lateral movements. Chris is a all around good player. He definitely can play pro ball for sure.
He really gets to the hit. He really goes downhill at the hoop with a lot of power and finesse, if that makes sense.
Yeah, our pick and roll could nobody in the league guard our pick and roll. There was no, there's not you couldn't. If you want the trap, you go op slip, dump it to me. Nobody's gonna hold me. You're out of place already. You want a hard hedge? I'll slip, or I could pop for a jump shot. I can shoot the shot, or I can drive. Or if you don't pick up, say you don't switch or something like that, he's going downhill, and he can create a shot for himself and for others. And he knows how to put you on his hip, and he can finish strong. He'd be finishing all types of shots.
Mm-hmm. And I thought I mentioned this to you earlier, but I thought Ryan Ricks. I told you, he didn't have the highest shooting percentage in the conference, but he had to have the highest shooting percentage with the game on the line in the conference. He was cold blooded at the end of games.
Yeah, Ricks was the closer. It would have been good to see him and Jace play together, which was our sophomore guard who could shoot lights out, and them two together is just like Steph Curry.
So I have a question for you. You know that gym you play in at Northwest, you have a great home court advantage because it's tight, right? It gets really loud in there. You guys get a lot of student support, but the floor is a little bit short. Do you think that changes the game? In other words, is it different playing on your home court on that shorter court than it is, when you go on the road and play teams like Southern Oregon that run out on you?
Yeah, I like Southern Oregon's court. I mean, yeah, it does, but really, I mean, the courts are the same size. I mean, it has to be as far as running for the rules and all that. But it's all about focusing, because that's just a part of adversity. If there's a backdrop or if there's not a backdrop, there's a wall. If it's a dome type, if it's a stadium, if it's just a little tight gym. I mean, being an athlete, by college, you should have been played in the worst gym than the best gym. Because if you're going to hoop for real, and you're going to play anywhere you can. I know all types of athletes play in churches, outside, the recs, backyards, homes, warehouses. Anywhere there's a hoop set up, you can run. So
that's true.
You got to get a basket. We're not worried about how many bleachers are there or the width of the court. You got to get a basket. You got to get the dub. So make it work. We shouldn't even be talking about that in the locker room. Just go play. We're for sure in shape the way Drink be having us set up before season starts.
What has it meant to you to be such a huge part of Northwest Eagle basketball?
It means a lot. A lot of people keep telling me I changed like the culture there, and the previous alumni there be telling me like, "Oh, you gonna get a statue up there?" Da da da. I'm like, nah, it's not like that. But I feel like they're more open to athletes being more than just athletes. Like a lot of those kids up there from homeschooling or private schools, and so you're not really seeing what kids are like on the inner city. Not really seeing. I'll just say it. There was only a couple black kids at the school. So my first year there, the support was like, it was like mid. as far as games go. Like they knew players and stuff, but they didn't. It wasn't like this year. This year was a lot of love, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because everyone got a feel for me and how I just spread, just love and just happiness and fun. I was funny and everyone just, hey, who are you doing? Or I was just listening to music, whatever. And so building that relationship with a lot of kids off campus that came to the games and they wanted to invite more athletes doing things. It was more support. Became more of a community. It was like a slight divide because a lot of people look at athletes like, oh, they get whatever they want, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But our schedules are based around everybody else that's not an athlete. To be honest, or at least at this school, and we be grinding a lot more than what people think. They think that we just show up and it's fun and games, but we're waking up 6 a.m., 7 a.m. We're going to bed at 2 a.m. because we got athletic work and school work and trying to have a socialized, eat, your individual time, whatever. So I think it was good for them to see. I think that community, it was good for them to see that, like, everyone isn't, I guess, a stereotype as far as an athlete goes. And so they showed a lot of support and they got behind me. And one thing I love about Northwest was the teachers. They wanted you to succeed and they did what they could to help you succeed on and off the court. So that was great to see. And that's kind of what got me to go there as well.
Well, they'll certainly remember you for a long time. You brought a lot of energy into that gym. I know the students loved you. You're always really fun to watch there. What's next for you after Northwest basketball? What's next for you?
Well, I'm working to play overseas. The coronavirus is kind of slowing things up right now, but I'm in some meetings right now, working on that. I'm not going to say too much. I don't want to jinx my blessings, but.
Are you set to graduate?
Yeah, I finished my class to graduate, so commencement's supposed to be in August. It got moved to August, but other than that, school is done for me, so.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah, enjoying family time right now, downtime. And I've actually been working out, believe it or not. I've actually been getting in the gym. Just don't tell the government. But other than that, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm actually, I'm not even like focused on basketball. I'm just blessed. I'm happy. Like I've been crying tears of joy just randomly. Like it's like I came from like foster care. Like for me, 20% of foster care students, kids graduate high school. 10% graduate college. I'm in that 10% with the success of basketball. And man, I done seen a lot, been through a lot, and I just thank God every day. It's crazy. Like it's just a step. I don't know, man. I'm just enjoying it. I'm just completely humbled by it. It's like, it could be all gone, which I've seen. I've had mine somewhat slipped, but.
Well, you've beat the odds and you'll continue to beat the odds. Whatever you take on, you're going to succeed because you've got that will to succeed and you're going to do very well, whatever you do.
Sure. Can't back down.
I really appreciate you being on the show. I enjoyed talking to you and hearing your story. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for having me on the show.